Namaste. Of the three great gods in Indian mythology, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, we have already discussed Vishnu in detail. Now we come to Shiva. Shiva, who is looked on as the destroyer, but again to the Shaivites, he is the supreme Lord who creates, preserves and destroys. Although the word destruction might sound irrelevant as far as gods are concerned, but in Indian mythology, destruction is important because without that, we cannot have new creation. Shiva is also looked on as the great god of renunciation. While all the other gods and goddesses wear beautiful outfits and have lots of jewelry, Shiva is quite different. He has ashes all over his body. He wears the tiger skin and he has snakes for decoration. Now, renunciation is so important because only the greatest of the great can give up all that is good and accept that which no one else will. We see Shiva in various images, and the word Shiva means auspicious. He is also referred to as Mahadev, the great god. He is seen as the ascetic in deep meditation in Kailash, his abode. And again he is seen as the householder with his beautiful wife Parvati and his two sons Ganesh and Kartikeya. Again we see him in his aniconic image of the lingam. In fact, in most temples in India, Shiva is portrayed in the form of the lingam. Let us follow a shloka. Nagendra Haraya. Nagendra is the king of serpents and he has the king of serpents as his garland. Trilochanaya. He has 3 eyes, 2 for ordinary perception and the third for extra perception. Again, when he is angry, fire is emitted from his third eye, like he destroyed desire in the form of Kamadeva with his third eye. Then, Bhashmanga Ragaya. Bhashma is the ashes from the funeral pyre which are all over his body. And these symbolize the transience of life. Nothing is permanent. Finally, we will all turn to ashes. Maheshwaraya, the great god Mahesh. Then he has the trident with him. Then from his locks, he has the river Ganga. It is said that when the river Ganga was descending onto the earth, it was coming with so much of force that Shiva had to bear the brunt of the force on his head. And so Shiva took Ganga in his matted locks and gradually let it out, trickling and down onto the earth. Then he is called Neelakantaya, blue-throated, because when the Kshirshagar was being churned during Samudra Manthan in Satya Yuga, Vasuki, the serpent, who was the rope, started emitting poison. And what could be done with the poison? It would destroy the world. Shiva drank the poison and kept it near his throat, and so that gave the bluish appearance. Then he has the crescent moon on his forehead, symbolizing that he is holding the entire universe. His abode is Kailash, and for his followers he has the Ganas, who are actually half gods. So they are looked on as ghostly hosts. These serve Shiva, and generally they are prayed to in order to reach Shiva. Shiva's hair is all matted, and for clothes he has the tiger skin. Yet he is a great god, greatest of them all, because who could accept all these things which nobody else would take on them? And Parvati chose the great god of renunciation as her husband. Shiva, as I said, is seen in various images, sometimes as the saint deep in meditation, sometimes the householder, sometimes in the aniconic image of the lingam, and again he is seen as Nataraj, the king of dance. The image of Nataraj is well known to all dancers. Let us try to analyze it. There is the ring of fire, which is more like a boundary to the Lord Nataraj. And this symbolizes the cosmic flames from which creation begins and in which the world finally ends. This is the spiral of energy. Then Shiva is dancing with his legs bent, one on the earth, one in space, symbolizing the universality of his dance. His hair is flying, the matted locks are all flying, showing the energy of his dance. On his head, he has the crescent moon, the serpent, and the dhutra flower. He has 4 arms. In the upper arms, he holds fire, symbol of energy and also of light. Light which illuminates space, which is so important for dance. On his upper right arm, he holds the damaru, the hourglass-shaped drum, which symbolizes time with its rhythm. In the lower arms, he is blessing everyone, and around this arm is the serpent, and this arm, which points downwards, symbolizes the beauty of the earth, and again it hides his heart from the spectators, thereby showing Tirodhana. Shiva is dancing on top of what looks like a dwarf. It is actually Apasmara Purusha, who is symbolic of evil, of a demon. In fact, if you study the sculptures in our country, the greater personalities are shown in bigger forms and the evil ones in smaller forms. So here this dwarf is actually evil, symbolized through this demon. Shiva is dancing the Ananda Tandava, which brings about creation. And Shiva is again dancing in order to keep the world going so that it does not lose its dynamism. Shiva is again seen in many different manifestations, sometimes as Pashupati, sometimes as Tripurari. In fact, there was a time when many of the local Hindu deities were absorbed into the concept of Shiva. This was also done in the case of Vishnu. And so actually Shiva has become the emblem or the symbol of greatness within Hinduism, absorbing all the various facets of the different gods. Shiva, the great god, the great destroyer, as Nataraj, the great dancer, and for Shaivites, the supreme being. Now, we have discussed Vishnu and we have discussed Shiva. Who is greater? In Hinduism, it is said that both are equally great. In fact, in Skanda Purana, it is said that Shiva is Vishnu and Vishnu is Shiva, and they are all symbols of the Almighty, and they are prayed to. Amongst the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, we have discussed Vishnu and Shiva. Now we have Brahma. Brahma is the creator. He is also the God who gave knowledge to humanity. Another name of Brahma is Shabda or sound. Through sound, knowledge came. And Brahma actually created the 4 Vedas. And it is said that he also created the Natya Veda or the Natya Shastra and gave it to Bharat. And so from there, the art of drama and dance came to humanity. Brahma is said to have 4 heads and he is prayed to, but somehow it is really remarkable that there are not too many temples dedicated to Brahma. In fact, worship of Vishnu and Shiva are much more popular throughout our country. We will now come to the consorts of the gods. We have discussed the great Trinity, and now we come to Tridevi, the wives of the 3 great gods. Brahma's wife is Saraswati. She is the energy in the form of knowledge. She inspires Brahma, and she is the goddess of all knowledge, of all learning in every form. In the foundation course, we had discussed Saraswati in detail while teaching the shloka to Saraswati. She is seen to hold the veena and books. She is dressed in white, sits on a white lotus, and she looks like the beautiful white moon and the snow and the beautiful white little flower, kunda. And white is actually a symbol of asceticism, because being a learner and seeking knowledge, you have to give up the love of worldly objects and you have to become saint-like. And the color represented is white, which belongs to Saraswati. The consort or wife of Vishnu is the beautiful Lakshmi, radiant with a golden complexion, dressed in a beautiful red outfit and bejeweled. She is the goddess of wealth, not only material wealth, but spiritual wealth as well. Lakshmi is often worshipped in 8 forms, and the word Lakshmi actually comes from Laksha, which means focus, aim. And so Lakshmi is focused on wealth in all forms. And the 8 Lakshmis that we pray to are Adi Lakshmi, who is the original Lakshmi, and she is very serene, calm and quiet, And during her puja, there is very little sound. Then we have Dhana Lakshmi, Lakshmi of wealth. Dhanya Lakshmi. Dhanya means of agricultural produce. Then Gaja Lakshmi, or the image of Lakshmi who is being bathed by elephants. I'm sure you have seen such pictures, beautiful ones. Then we have Santana Lakshmi, she who gives or blesses us with progeny, children. Then Veera Lakshmi, she who is courageous. Then Vijaya Lakshmi, she who makes us triumphant. And then Vidya Lakshmi, who is actually a variant of Saraswati, and she gives us knowledge. The animals associated with Lakshmi are the elephant, who are bathing her, and her mount is the owl. The owl, which can see in darkness and find its way, and so knowledge can be sought even in darkness. Lakshmi is a very happy goddess, and she is always blessing everyone, and she is the consort of Vishnu. Then we have Parvati. Parvati was also seen as Shakti, and she is the wife of Shiva. Actually, Shiva had, in a way, two wives. First, Adi Shakti married Shiva when she was Sati, the daughter of Daksha Prajapati. Now, Daksha did not like his son-in-law Shiva and always cursed him during a special sacrificial ritual in Daksha's palace. Sati, coming and hearing Daksha cursing Shiva, immolated her body. Shiva came and, seeing Sati's body, hoisted her on his shoulder and started dancing the dance of destruction and going round the whole world. Vishnu started cutting off pieces from the body because he felt that if this dance of destruction continued, then the whole of the universe would be annihilated. Wherever the body of Sati fell, there grew up a Sati Peeth, or a special place for worship of Shakti. Now, after that, Shakti was born again as Parvati, the daughter of the Himalayas. Shiva at that time, having lost the body of Sati, was in deep meditation, and Parvati took great pains. She did a lot of penance, a lot of meditation, and finally won Shiva. Parvati is seen as the ideal wife, living with her husband in their home Kailash, and they have their two sons, Kartikeya and Ganesh. Parvati is equated with Shakti, and we will discuss Shakti in detail in the next module. So, Parvati, the beautiful goddess, the consort of Shiva. Shiva and Parvati had two sons, Kartikeya and Ganesh. Although Ganesh is more popular, Kartikeya in his own way is a great god. He is the general of the army of the gods, Deva Senapati. In Kalidas's famous epic poem, Kumara Sambhava, we have details regarding the birth of Kartikeya. Shiva was in deep meditation after having lost Sati, And here was this demon, Tarokasur, who was becoming more and more tyrannical. And he was blessed by the gods. And it was said that only a son of Shiva would be able to kill him. So now the gods wanted Shiva to get married and have a child. And they sent Parvati to appease Shiva. Finally, after a lot of effort, Shiva married Parvati. And then, when they were making love, Shiva, in all his power, emitted his semen, which was so powerful that the gods feared that it might destroy the world. And so Agni, or the god of fire, was asked to take it to the river Ganga to be cooled. And there fell Shiva's semen, and a god was born who was so beautiful that of the 7 celestial stars, the Kritikas, 6 of them wanted to nurse this boy. Kartikeya pleased them by actually having 5 more heads. So, one for each Kartikeya, and that is why he is called Sharanan, or with 6 heads. And he is called Kartikeya because he is the son of the Kritikas, because who nurtures is also a mother. Kartik led the gods in a great battle against Tarakasur and killed Tarakasur, and thereafter he was prayed to as the great warrior. He is also looked on as a very handsome young man, Kumar, and he is also called Skanda, the person who leaps and goes into war. Kartikeya in North India is a celibate, but in South India he has 2 wives, Valli and Devsena. He rides the peacock, and he is the epitome of beauty, of power, and of martial prowess. So this is the great warrior, the general of the army of the gods, Devasenapati Kartikeya. We will discuss Ganesh in the next module. Thank you.